Morning, welcome back to the channel, Rosie Jones's Locker. Weather looks like it's going to be all right tomorrow for a short window, so we'll go out to the reef and give it a crack. Won't go too far, 70, 80, 90k, that's about all, just a day trip. I normally like to go overnight, but I don't mind doing a day trip. It's quick and easy, take less gear. And a little bit cheaper the way fuel prices are. I thought I'd give you a bit of a rundown on the laddie of my life, my boat. She's a 6.5 metre plate aluminium, custom built boat. Don't know a lot about it. It was built in Bundaberg, and whoever built it must have some affiliation or something with the Navy or something. Because it's actually called the Steel Cat, which is a nickname for HMAS Brisbane, which they've I think turned into a dive site off the coast down south. Because I think Steel Cat was its nickname, and it's got a pendant with like a panther and 41, a number on it. So there's some connection with the boat builder or one of the previous owners. In relation to the name, I guess. So it sits on a Spitfire aluminium trailer. I bought it a couple of years ago. Been a good trailer so far. I don't tow it very far. It's only about a half an hour's run over to the harbour, but yeah, it works fine. So far, no issues. Hasn't had a real test, I guess. But one day, I guess I might do some travelling down to maybe 1770 or up north to Mackay somewhere and have a trip up there. But so far there's enough good fishing ground where we are, and yeah, it satisfies me. Anyway, I'll get up on board and give you a bit of a look up top, and yeah. Okay, nothing fancy up front here, just the Lowrance HDS 9-inch. It's a combo plotter sounder, but yeah, I prefer to have a separate sounder to the GPS. Probably because I'm bloody blind and, you know, like to have a big screen to look at. So I've got a Funo sounder with a 1-inch 1 kilowatt transducer. Not much else there, just the music compass, the solar panel on the roof. That's the regulator. I've mounted it up there. It seems to be working so far so good. Just speakers, VHF radio. Up in the front there, it's okay to sleep one. We normally store a lot of gear and the life jackets and that sort of stuff up there. I've got a couple of mattresses that I haven't put in yet. I've just rewired the whole boat. I have done a little bit of a story on all that, but yeah, it's all tucked away in the all out of sight and all nice and neat now. Threw a fan in while I was on the go. Still got to do a few more other things down the track, but yeah, it's been out of commission long enough, so I'm just starting to use it again, so get a bit more use out of it, and then I'll yeah, do a few more things to it. Walk through transoms there. There's another mod I've done. I've changed all the batteries. I've got more amp hours. It originally had a 175 Optimax on it. Well, she was just big enough for it really, so I upgraded it to the 250 Suzuki. Great outboard. Most of the time 1.2k a litre. You know, it's not fantastic, but yeah, I'm happy with it. Runs well, works the boat really well. Yeah, it's got quite a bit of room. I can see on the side there the jerry cans. I carry an extra I think it's about 120 litres when I do overnight trips. 280 litre inboard tank. Yeah, and I just always like to have more fuel. If we don't use it fishing, we've got a couple of acre block here, so it goes into lawnmowers and weed eaters, and I've got a quad as well. So up the front I got the stress-free anchor winch. Best thing I ever bought for the boat. Bloody amazing. Who cares if you shift 100 times a day or whatever you do. I don't do a lot of drifting. I prefer to anchor up once I find a patch of fish that's going to bite. On the roof, 380 watt solar panel. I've only done one trip with that on and everything's working fine so far. Has no trouble keeping up with the power draw, you know, with electronics and 12 volt fridge that I will fit up in between the seats later on a bit when I finish loading the boat up. Yeah, a lot of deck room. It's like most plate boats, it's you know, it bangs into any rough sea. But at rest and stability, you know, I've fished 6 people out of this boat and it doesn't know worries at all. So yeah, and what more I could tell you. Yeah, it's a good solid boat. Maybe that's why they named it after the HMAS Brisbane, I guess, because she's pretty solidly built. I just not sure on the, you know, the thickness of the hull and all that sort of stuff, but it is really thick. We actually, when I first bought it, there's a cover on the floor there we can take out, and we just checked the size of the fuel tank, so we knew exactly what we had in board, and yeah, 280 litres. You can see the frame up the front there. I'll show you that later on when the fridge is fitted, but that's just a fairly recent mod I done to take a 12 volt fridge. I take quite a few eskies. I like having lots of ice on board. As I said, I'll show you that once it's all on board and put in its place. But yeah, we fish out the back a lot. I got plans to extend the roof. Yeah, when I've done a few more trips, I'm just sick of doing work on it. I just want to use the boat more, and hopefully bring some more videos to the channel, and yeah, bring us along for the ride. Okay, well that's about it for now. I'll oh, there's my unfinished shed. If my son had come down and finish that for me one day, that'd be great. Hopefully he'll watch this video and see me giving him a hard time about it. But anyway, I'll get to chucking some gear on it, getting it ready, and I'll give you an update then of yeah, what it looks like with all the gear on it. Okay, this is pretty much how we set the eskies up. The orange one we use as our slurry box. That is when we catch the fish, we bleed them and stick them in there. As soon as we get fish in there, we start adding salt water, and I make my own ice, so they're all in blocks. So you know, as the fish go in there, we add salt water and then blocks of ice, and we keep it very cool or very cold. So virtually by the time they come out of that slurry box and we pack them into the white one, the rigor mortis is properly set in, the fish is gone, you know, it's bled out and it's chilled down, that it's quite firm and easy to pack away. I would normally, if I was going overnight, I'd have one more esky about the same size as that white one there. It would be almost full of ice, but we use it for the fellas that come out, want to have a beer or cold drinks. We can utilize it for that, and we use that esky, the ice in that esky last. So we use up the middle esky ice first, because it'll be pretty much 2/3 full of ice, and then yeah, I take a lot of mullet bait for bait and pillies. So you know, people look at the boat sometimes at the harbour and say, oh geez, you got a lot of eskies, but it's full of ice. I mean, I like to look after me fish, and they can stay in that slurry box for, you know, quite a few hours. We keep topping it up with salt water and more ice as we need it, and you go through a lot of ice doing that, but at least the fish go, you know, they set and they get cold very quickly, and they keep well. I mean, I can come home and leave it for a day before I fillet them, and they're, you know, they're in really good condition, and they last when you freeze them down in the freezer as well. I fish with a deck winch these days a lot. Old age, I guess. I don't use the rod too often unless we're in shallow reefs, you know, 30 meters or something like that. But even then, I'd still favor a deck winch. A little bit of art in using them, but I prefer them. I've used them for a long time. The old shoulders don't like those rods too much. I still, every now and again, you know, I always carry a couple of rods on board for myself, but yeah, most of the time it's deck winches. A little bit of art in using them, like I said, and a lot of people don't like them because, you know, they're a little bit tricky to use. but I sort of fish in that corner there. That way from back here I can keep an eye on the sounder and the GPS, see where we're sitting as to where the fish are, where the fern is. So keep an eye on that, and you know, we can fish one beside me and two on the other side, no worries. Like I said earlier, I've fished 6 out of here for a day trip, no worries at all. As far as sleeping, like I said, we can, you know, my daughter and son-in-law have both slept up in there when we've had 4 on board, and I've got a couple of stretches that we reconfigure all the eskies back to stern, and I can set 2 stretches, you know, fully stretched out here, and you know, that caters for 4 quite easy. I have a blow-up mattress where I can sit across the eskies even if we need a third, you know, just for overnight. I mean, no one sleeps really well, so as long as you can stretch out, give the old back a bit of a rest, and you know, nod off here and there. But yeah, that's the fridge is all set in there. Like I said, the extra fuel I carry on the side, I had 3 jerry cans each side. Plenty of water. It's something I need to do in the near future. I plan to put a water tank underneath the battery box on the stern there, probably 60 to 80 litres, something like that, just for having a shower, not so much for drinking, but yeah, having a tub of a night time, and especially if you're out for a few days. Or I do plan to do some extended trips up the coast and having a look at chasing some crays, you know, a little bit of exploring. I've got a tender, a blow up tender, and an outboard getting organised as we speak. So yeah, look forward to going out for a few days to a week and getting some good footage of our coast and islands and so forth. So anyway, that's pretty much it. We keep the rods up in the, like I said, this is virtually a storage area. Whilst, you know, once we get the boat in the water at the harbour there, the rods, they can go up to the rod rack at the back there. We can hold 4 there, okay. And what we're not using, we just keep up in the bow there. Like I said, it's just a storage area, you know, keep things out of the way and out of the weather, clothes and that sort of stuff, bedding, pillows and stuff. Alright, that's about it. We're just waiting for the sun to drop down a little bit and get off these eskies, and we'll fill this white one up full of ice as much as we can get in there with a bit of bait. It's only a day trip, so we get up in the morning and get over and fuel up about 5 o'clock and hopefully get going before 6, and see how we go. Alright, we'll catch up with this tomorrow. Cheers.